Welcome back. The Namibian government has recently implemented a significant increase in fuel and electricity tariffs, sparking concerns about the economic impact on the country. To gain deep understanding of these changes and their potential effects, we now speak with economist Nina Chithigona. Nina, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Nina. Good evening to the viewers also.
Thank you for being here. Just to start with, talk to us about what, your initial thoughts on the recent fuel and electricity tariff hikes in Namibia.
Nina, this is a bread and butter issue, so it actually requires critical, constant attention from all stakeholders of the economy. The increase in pricing and electricity can also cause inflation in the economy. So the rate at which they have increased, it's not so much disturbing, but we are going to we want to put more attention on it while it doesn't go beyond that kind of level. So these kind of hikes affect the transport sector. It affects your logistics. It affects the layman. The low-income earners are mostly affected by this kind of increment. Recently, OPEC have announced its global demand for supply of electricity, 2.2 million in 2024. So the supplies remain still the same, which is OPEC, and in terms of supplying energy level. So NAMPA, being the sole provider of electricity in Namibia, of energy in Namibia, it now sources energy from import and also through Rakana hydro system. So the rise of fuel and transport can also increase other prices of goods in the economy. That's why this is a cause of concern and it's a critical issue to be discussed.
Speaking of it affecting the increase in prices of other goods in the economy, I want us to look at how these tariff hikes affect the average Namibian. And when I say the average Namibian, we're also talking about particularly those living within the rural areas or with lower income.
The people living in a rural area, which are the low-income earners, they use public transport. They use public transport to go to the, whether it's town, they don't own cars, but they use public transport. Now, we're talking about the fuel rising up. That means now, those public transport might also be increased. If it's now the electricity prices increasing, that means they're going to buy lesser units of electricity per household. So this is causing now strain on a normal consumer household, especially the low-income earner. We are talking about now the fuel attendants here, the domestic workers, and then the pensioners who are literally, whose salaries don't necessarily change in relation to the pricing hikes. Right. So this puts strains on the household, which is now the breadwinners. The savings of the disposable saving of the household also is also affected in a long run. So in overall, all sectors of the economy are also affected by this price change. Now, I would like to allude that this is not it's a shock, but it's also not so at a highest significant level. I'm sure this was not really anticipated, but it should be happening so that maybe I can be able to keep up to par with all the market relations and regulations.
Also, the primary drivers behind these tariff hikes, are they primarily due to external factors, such as global market fluctuators, or internal factors such as inefficiencies within Namibia's energy sector?
According to the Electrical Control Board of Namibia, they have announced this rate on 26th of April 2024. They are alluding this to the rise in the cost of electricity generation. That is now your import duties. It does not. This particular one does not have anything to do with the inefficiency in the internal factors. It has everything to do with the importing. Now, what will happen is the global market fluctuates. So when the global market fluctuates, the imported energy also will eventually be affected by these fluctuations in global currency because of fluctuations of the currency.
Nina, talk to us about what measures you think the Namibian government, could take to mitigate the negative effects of these tariff hikes on the economy and, of course, on the average consumer as well.
The Bank of Namibia, in collaboration with the government, is having policies already put up in place to, these are now your monetary policy and your fiscal policies to mitigate these kind of measures in the future. The monetary policy adjusts the interest rate and also tighten the liquidity in the economy. While the fiscal policy is actually there to make sure that it achieve the price stability of all goods and services in the economy. Now, if you look at last year, March 2023, inflation was actually at 7.5%. Comparing to this year, March 2024, it was only 4.5%. That is a 60% reduction in change in terms of inflation.
Right.
So we are not doing so bad well as an economy, but we should just be able to take control of all those necessary changes and make sure that everything is in control. Now the government is, we have the green hydrogen initiative that is going on around. This is a great initiative for the country also because we are now going to green energy and it will be able to alleviate all those hiccups and prevent further economic shocks. The discoveries of oil also in Namibia might be able to assist us in job creation and also in terms of economic development. That will not be now, obviously, to be in the near future. Probably would, the analysts are saying it might be in the next 10 to 15 years, in the next 10 to 15 years, but we are looking forward to a better in terms of energy pricing reduction.
Yeah, of course. In your opinion, Ms. Serena, what role should government play, in regulating the energy sector to ensure balance between economic growth and affordability for the consumer?
I would like to talk about the solar panels and the solar energy. The government can actually invest more. I'm sure they're already doing that, but if they can invest more capital project on solar energy, we will be able to use the energy from the sun. You see, people from the north, the sun is very hot. We can utilize that sun energy to solar panel. What we can do is now empowering the youth and the locals in doing that. Through those capital projects that the government can do also, they can also increase the subsidies in terms of now importing of oil, which is now, in this case, which can put, is the driving force in this hiking of prices. The government can increase subsidy in importing of energy. I'm sure they're already doing that now, but if they can also invest more in that, in those projects. If you look at Angola, Angola actually import the same energy from the same country that Namibia is importing, but they are heavily subsidized by the government. That's why the oil in the energy price in Angola is literally low compared to Namibia right now.
Just lastly, Serena, your predictions for future energy pricing in Namibia? Do you expect further increases or stabilizing, in the prices in the coming months or years?
One can definitely not wish for further prices, but there are factors that could jeopardize or increase any further. But if you also look at it, this pricing, it does not necessarily comes, for example, consecutively following each other. It's probably been done once a year or after every 6 months, or when there's a need or there's an economic shock. But I would like to talk about the global part where we have now war in Ukraine and Russia. Those factors might just fluctuate and temper with our imports in the next near future if nothing will be done about it. The exchange rate also fluctuates, that we have nothing to we have no control over that. So in all, the economy is actually growing it's expected to grow at a faster pace in 2024, but inflation is still continuing to eat in the pockets of the consumers. What I can advise the consumer is that they must buckle up and tie up their seat belts.
They say tighten those belts, but I think consumers are tired of hearing that, yes.
Correct. Increase your saving and less borrowing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Serena, for your time, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Nina.
That was Serena Shifigona joining us here to speak to us about the recently implemented increase in fuel and electricity tariffs and, of course, what consumers can expect. We'll be right back after this brief